Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Soundtrap by Spotify session today. We're so excited to walk through music making and podcasting in the studio. So let's go ahead and jump in. We have some colleagues on the call today, but before we introduce where we're coming from and our work at Soundtrap, we'd love to have you meet everyone in the room. Taylor and Justin, do you want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Justin Grimes, and I'm on the education specialist team with Taylor and with Jess, and I'm located in Los Angeles, California.
Hey everyone, I'm Taylor Hahn, an education specialist. I'm in Austin, Texas. My background is in music education. I was teaching middle school, high school percussion and band and creative music making. And now I'm full-time with Soundtrap, helping teachers, especially music teachers, get up and running and be more creative.
Thanks, Taylor. Thanks, Justin. Hi, everybody. My name is Jess Kurtz. I am on the Ed Specialist team with these awesome human beings. I am based in New York City and supporting the East Coast Soundtrap communities. Prior to joining Soundtrap, I was a former educator both in the US and abroad. So really looking forward to bringing some exciting creative spaces to you today and thinking about how that could look for you in your projects and in your curriculum. So Justin, maybe you want to walk them through. We had a nice intro to who's in the room, but maybe you want them to know a little bit more about our work and our mission.
Yeah, for sure. So if you all didn't know, before today, we are a part of the Spotify family. And so at Spotify, we really want to make sure that they unlock the creativity of millions and millions of people. And so in something like now, we want to make sure that we reach even more people with creativity and collaboration. And at Soundtrap, we believe some of these same exact values, making sure that students, teachers, and their community are able to explore creativity and art and music making from K through 12 and even beyond that. So really excited to be here with you all today as we share this mission.
Amazing.
So something I'd like to just remind us of, that teachers who maintain high creativity environments are more likely to say their students often show signs of cognitive development and confidence building. In most cases, those outcomes are even more likely when teachers use technology in transformative ways that support creativity. So not just using technology to replace something else, but to really transform what they're doing and use it in a way that's really significant to actually build cognitive development with their students.
Amazing. So let's take a look at what that could look like in the Soundtrap world. So just quickly framing our thinking today, please, just like we want our students to be creative, please bring your own creativity and start thinking about some projects. Think big, dream big. It could be an amazing school-wide project, or maybe just a tool that you use with a small group. But either way, we're excited to sort of explore the studio with you and jump in. So we did a quick overview and we're here with you now, catching up on the agenda. But now it's time for the fun part. Let's jump into and explore the studio. So today we're going to give you a sneak peek. This is a project that could exist in the studio. As you can see, there's tracks in different regions and things already on the screen here that you see in the center. And then the cool thing on the side that we're going to actually demonstrate for you together is this collaboration feature. So Taylor, Justin, and I are not in the same place, as you could hear from our intros, but we're going to work together on a project to sort of show you and walk through the studio together. So that being said, we're sort of thinking about this in a couple ways. Justin and I are going to sort of walk you through podcasting. So we might have an interview set up, or we might do something together where we're working on some audio recordings, and we'll walk you through our transcription. And then Taylor's going to jump in with some cool music features. And so he's going to amplify the work with some amazing music and sound effects to really bring the recording to life. So without further ado, let's jump into the studio. All right, so we are landing on our homepage here, and we're going to come back to this teacher dashboard in a second. But in the case of the studio, we're going to go ahead and just click here and jump right in. And we're going to start a project from scratch. So when we do that, it's going to ask you which route you want to go. We're going to do the podcast choice today. And it's going to drop us into a blank project. You'll see we don't have any tracks here, and it has our time count at the top, so we haven't recorded anything yet. But this will soon be filled with a cool project. So before I do that, before I actually get started, I want to invite Taylor and Justin to jump into the project with me. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save the project so that when I invite them, the project has a title, so they actually can see who is working on it, and you can title it whatever you'd like. And then I'm just going to go ahead and save it so it's ready to go. Amazing. So we have a title, but still no content. Let's go ahead and invite Taylor and Justin into the studio. We do that by clicking here on the little blue icon on the top right, and they are going to be my collaborators. I'm going to invite them in here to the studio with me. Right now you can see I'm the only one here because my little icon is here and I have the little green live active button, but pretty soon that will change. So click invite, and I'm going to add Taylor to the project, and I'm going to invite Justin to the project. Okay, so the invitations are sent, they are off and away. And so you can see here that we're waiting on Taylor and Justin to accept the project. So that can take a second. In the meantime, while they get a chance to accept and join, I'm going to go ahead and walk you through how to add a voice track. So for a podcast, maybe you have one speaker, maybe you have multiple speakers, totally up to you. Oh, cool. We just got a notification. Taylor's here. Welcome, Taylor. So glad you made it. All right. And then I'm going to add a voice track by clicking on the sidebar here, add new track, and then choose voice and microphones. So in this case, I'm not using any fancy microphones, no plugins, no external mics. I'm just going to use my computer microphone. So I'm going to go ahead and get started by doing two quick things. The first thing I'm going to do is make sure that it's the correct microphone. Yep, got the right one. It's my computer. And I'm going to do a quick sound check. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay, my sound is good to go. My next step is to click this red button to start recording my voice. Hello, welcome to our session today. We're so excited to explore the studio with you as we think about podcasting and music making in Soundtrap. Okay, my voice is there. Something I might want to do is even label the track so that if we have multiple speakers or multiple people contributing, you can then label it to know who's talking and which tracks belong to which people in the studio. All right, so Taylor's here. Now, because I've made updates and I've made an addition to the studio, I want Taylor to be able to see them. So I'm going to sync. And all of a sudden, Taylor's going to be able to see the changes that I made. The other thing I can do is I can actually send him a note. Ask him if he could do some cool intro music. Maybe he's going to think about a way to enhance the project and add some music. While Justin gets logged in and gets set up, I think it would be fantastic if I toss it over to Taylor and he can sort of walk us through that.
Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and take over the screen. I'm going to show this, including my sound. And we'll jump over here. So thank you, Jess, for setting that up. And now that I've synced, excuse me, now that I've synced, I can see exactly what Jess has done. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little bit of the musical side of things. I expect many people watching this will not be music teachers, but that's okay. You can use music very easily without having to know a whole lot about music. Or if you're a music teacher, you can go pretty deep with music. And that's what I do. And you can see all my instruments around here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you a super simple little recipe that I recommend either for making some quick music to go at the beginning of your podcast or to kind of introduce your students to this side of things. So you can see my screen, right, Jess and Joss?
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. So I'm going to close this collaboration tab, and I'm going to go up here to this purple circle. And I see here these loops, and loops are built-in sounds from Soundtrap that are included in everyone's subscription. So if you have Soundtrap, you have loops. So all these loops you'll be able to access. And I'm a drummer, so I like to start with drums. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to find 3 little loops. I'm going to put them together, and that'll be my little intro music, just a couple seconds long. And you don't need to know anything about music in order to do this. It's quite simple, so let's check it out. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to click on beats, and I can start looking through all the different beats. I happen to know and have clicked some of my favorites. So I'm going to go look at my favorites, and I can click this little purple button to listen to a couple of them. That's nice. What is this one? Cool. So I can go through. No, thank you. I think I like this first one. So I'm going to double click on this blop hop, and that's going to load it into the project over here. We'll come back to that in a second. Now I'm going to add a quick little bass, and that's cool. So double click that. And finally, I think I'll add a little piano on top. Pretty, but doesn't fit. I like that one. So I'm going to do that. Double click that. And real quick, I'm going to shave off the end. So I don't want 15 seconds worth of music. I just want like 5 or 6 seconds to kind of introduce this little podcast. So I can highlight all of them just by clicking and dragging like this. And I'll pull to the left, which will shorten everything. And then I'm also going to scoot Jess's voice over so that it's not overlapping. I could have it overlap, but I think for this, I'd rather not. One last thing I'll do is have it fade out. So again, I'll highlight these, click on this little circle on the top, and do a quick little fade out. So now in, what did that take me? A minute. I made a little bit of intro music, and that'll be a nice way to start our example podcast. Let's hear it real quick.
Hello, welcome to our session today.
There we go. So that's a great little start to our podcast. Now I just need to hit save, and Justin and Jess will both get notifications that I've saved. They can click sync, and they'll see everything I see now. So I think that's it for me. That's just a quick look at how you can start to use music. You, of course, can do more advanced things. You can do playing in with a keyboard. You can edit. You can import MIDI. You can do all these other things. But I think for today's session, this is a good taste of the music side of things. So with that, I think we'll turn it over to Justin. Are you ready to go?
Yep, ready to go. So yes, now that Taylor's added some music and just added her voice in, now I'm going to go and add my voice. And the really cool thing about that is that we're not even in the same place. So it's going to be really cool to, have this project together. All right. So I already see that Jess wanted Taylor to add some music. So now I'm just going to go and add my voice track.
Hello, welcome to our session today. We're so excited to explore the studio with you as we think about podcasting and music making in Soundtrap.
Hey, Jess, I'm really excited to be here with you today. I'm coming from all the way from Los Angeles. Happy to be a part of this session. So I'm just going to stop. And so what I'm going to go and do is do a quick edit. So taking some of this from the beginning away. So you can just hear, let's see it. Hey, Jess, I'm really excited to be. I'm just going to label my track. And I'm going to hit save. So now I see that my voice has been added to Taylor's music and Jess's voice as well. I'm going to drag it over a little bit. And let's hear how this project starts out.
Hello, welcome to our session today. We're so excited to explore the studio with you as we think about podcasting and music making in Soundtrap.
Hey, Jess, I'm really excited to be here with you today. I'm coming from all the way from Los Angeles. Happy to be a part of this session. So that's really simple. We were able to just add our voices in and loops to give it a little dramatic appeal in the beginning. So yeah, so that's a simple collaboration project. Now I'm going to show you the transcription feature. And so the really cool part about this is we can take our voices and then we can turn it into text. So I'm going to go down to the transcript. I'm going to go ahead and transcribe Jess's voice. And I can go and transcribe my voice as well. And it takes about a minute for both of the transcriptions to come up. But the really cool part about this is while that's loading, we also have different languages that you can set your recording to just by going to settings, then going down to language and choose the specific language that you're looking for. So now, as you see, it has now turned our voices into the text. So what I want you to pay attention to, as I mute the loops, I'm going to bring my podcast all the way back to the beginning and just pay attention to the highlighted words.
Hello, welcome to our session today. We're so excited to explore the studio with you as we think about podcasting and music.
So it went up and it picked up everything that Jess was saying. So what if I wanted to go in and make a change to hers? So I could go and let's say music was spelled wrong. Okay, go and highlight it, double click on it, hit the letter E on your keyboard, and I could change the spelling of music. Or if I wanted to add an exclamation point at the beginning of hello, I could go over and click, hit the letter E, just backspace, add hello. So the really cool part about transcription, once again, is it can take your voice, turn it into text, and then you can transcribe it into different languages, and you can make changes to it, whether it be editing, adding punctuation, or misspelling things. One thing that I want to mention about transcription is that you can't go back in and put words in. So I couldn't say, hello, Justin, welcome to our session today. Like, you can't go back in and do that. So I always think this is a really cool tool because students are able to see their work right in front of them and follow along. So yeah, excited to show you the transcription feature.
Justin, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. So hopefully you're getting excited and your brain is swirling with amazing projects and things that you're thinking about for work with your students in the studio, thinking about both podcasting and music making. But before you bring students into the studio, the next important thing we want to walk you through is how to set up your account and making sure that you as a teacher have all your pieces organized before you have students starting to create. So our next thing that we're going to tackle is looking at the teacher dashboard, which we sort of think of as the backstage. So that's where we get all the logistics organized. That's where we get everyone set up. So let's go ahead and take a look at that together. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to exit the studio. And I'm going to take us back to that first page where we started, which was our dashboard. Again, we jumped into the studio by hitting this purple button, Enter Studio, but we didn't tour the rest of the space. So let's take a look here together. This landing page is your My Projects page, where you're going to land and find different projects organized by folder if you decide to create multiple folders. And we also have the option to create assignments, which we'll walk you through in a little bit. So this is my landing page. I like having folders for a couple different things and keeping things organized that way. Another thing that you're going to think about when you're including and adding students is creating groups. So you want students to be organized in the correct group for their class, or if you're doing an ensemble project, or you're just doing a paired assignment, whatever the group is, that's the group that students should be able to work with fellow students in. So when we click My Groups, again, I have some sample groups that I've created in the past, things that already exist here. There's no limit to how many groups you can have. But if I wanted to create a new group, I just click at the top and I might just choose to have Justin, Jess, and Taylor in a group together. And then I want to add them, automatically be added to this group. So now I've created it and that group is in my list. So that's here. Okay, so I've created my group, but now maybe I need to add Justin and Taylor. Maybe they haven't used Soundtrap before. They're my students in my class, and I want to bring them into the Soundtrap studio. I would do that by going to EDU Admin, and I would click on this orange button here to import my users. You have a couple routes of how you add new users into Soundtrap. If you wanted to, you could send your students the code for the individual and personalized group that you've made for them, whether it's their class period or if it's a breakout group or something that they're working on. So you could go ahead and share this link and provide them with the unique code. So I can maybe email Taylor and Justin and send this and share, hey, join my group here on Soundtrap. You could, if you have a lot of free time, enter each person one by one and create a temporary password. If you have a small class, maybe you're only working with 10 kids in Soundtrap, maybe this is a reasonable option for you. If you have hundreds of students, I definitely recommend you consider our bulk import option. So that's where you can add students through Google Classroom, Canvas, G Suite, or a CSV file. So you would go ahead and then sync your platform, your LMS here, or you would upload a file with student names here. So CSV is a type of Excel spreadsheet. And then you could add them directly to the class that you're choosing. So in this case, I would add them to the Justin, Jess, and Taylor class. And then I'd hit next and sync that up for you. So that's a quick way to think about how you might want to add students to your account. I mentioned that we'll come back to the idea of doing assignments. Again, Justin, Taylor, and I weren't doing this for homework or for a grade, so we were just collaborating for fun. And maybe the collaboration space is the right route for you if you're just having an experimental sort of fun space for students. But if you want to create an assignment for students where they are actually then submitting the project to you and it becomes a folder, as you can see, I have like some separate assignment folders here. You can do that by clicking the swipe button at the top for create assignment. Or I could use this sample collaboration project that we just worked on together, click the gray 3 dots, and create the assignment. I'm ready to share it, and I can share it with my students by clicking here, and then sharing through one of these 4 routes, whatever makes the most sense for you. You can share directly with your group or sync up if you have an LMS connection, or just send it with a link. So any of those work. Any thoughts, Taylor and Justin, that I've missed here about getting set up with teachers and getting our accounts ready?
Yeah, I think I have 2 things to mention. One about assignments and then kind of one about resources and where to go to learn more.
Great.
So the great thing about assignments, just to reiterate, is that when you send that link or when you add students to that assignment, they each get their own copy. And that allows you to kind of save time and also not rely on them to invite you to the project because you'll already be a collaborator. So assignments are usually the way to go if you want to have your whole class work on something and have their own version of it. The other thing I'd point out is the 2 tabs up there, lesson plans and resources. We have full-fledged lesson plans that we and some of our amazing Soundtrap teachers around the world have put together. And those are free and available for everybody. So as soon as you log in, you can go and check those out, and you can sort by subject and by grade level. So that can be really helpful when you're just getting started and you're thinking like, okay, I want to be creative. I want my kids to be making podcasts, but I don't really know where to start. Here you go. There's a jump start for you. Then next to that is the resources tab, which kind of has links to several other places. We have tutorials, courses, ideas. So you might look at the classroom ideas. If you still are kind of having trouble thinking like, okay, well, I'm teaching math or I'm teaching social studies, I still don't quite get how I might use this in my class. Again, we have some ideas compiled here to help kind of get those light bulbs going off and help you figure out, okay, I think I can see how this would be, relevant to me. So I definitely encourage you to check those links out. We have all kinds of other tutorial videos and resources for you to dive in once you are inside of Soundtrap. Today, our goal was really just to kind of give you an overview, hopefully let you see how simple and easy it can be, and get you excited about using it. And then when you are in here, we have all these other resources for you to dive deeper, as well as our public webinars that our team is running constantly. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to share there. And back to you, Jess or Justin.
Great. So as Taylor mentioned, those lesson plan ideas or sort of those springboard ideas to get up and running are a great place to sort of brainstorm and see where other amazing teachers are doing some cool work in the studio. And then as he was mentioning, we have the teaching resources, so lesson ideas, podcasting support, and then those lesson plans, which is amazing, as well as Taylor's being very modest, but he made an awesome Soundtrap certified educator course. So if you are interested to take that course, it's free and available to anyone who wants to get more expertise. as well as an awesome student course to share directly with your students on YouTube. So there's a fantastic playlist with individual videos and tutorials there. Justin, do you want to pop in and chat about our amazing community?
Yeah, so if you want to connect with other teachers, whether it be music teachers or regular gen ed teachers, on social media, feel free to follow us on our Facebook page at Soundtrap for Education, and also on our Twitter at Soundtrap, and just share with us ideas that you're working on to continue to increase and boost the community that we have. So really excited to see you join us and looking forward to it.
Thanks so much for joining us today. So glad to be with you and can't wait to see you in the Soundtrap studio. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us.